Welcome to the Baseball Insiders. Thanks for joining us. Happy Wednesday. I'm Adam Weinrib, joined as always by FanSided's MLB insider Robert Murray. The New York Mets are still rolling, but they did suffer a devastating bullpen injury. The Padres had a roster shuffle on their bench, and the Orioles called up a pitcher who does not appear to be part of the long-term solution. All that plus Robert's notebook and the newest City Connects. Thank you for joining us. It is a Wednesday afternoon. It is 1 o'clock Eastern. We are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday with Robert, 3:30 on Monday and Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday. Prospect Show with Eric Cole on Tuesday. It's a fun channel. We hope that you join and subscribe. Robert, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm great, man. It's good to be here. There was some pretty crazy defensive plays yesterday that I'm sure we're going to end up talking about in Toronto with the Mets all over the board here. Some pretty crazy things. Always good being here with you. I'm in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. As you can see, this is not my usual background. I don't have 5 TVs behind me. I got Badgers, 49ers, you name it, stuff behind me. So good to be here with you, Adam. How you doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day. Yeah, I am not in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. I'm in the same room that you all know and love, ? We're here to talk ball based on the way things went yesterday. A lot of chances were taken, especially the Baltimore Orioles. They certainly tried to subdue the Yankees with a pitching switch. That didn't necessarily work. Dalton Varsho thought he maybe had a fly ball to give up on, and then he found it in his hat at the last second. Weird stuff going on north of the border. First Phillies walk-off wild pitch win since 1993 against the Giants, by the way. A game against the Giants where they were down 8-0 in that 93 pennant-winning team and came back. This one, they blew a 2-run lead with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 9th, come back and win on the wild pitch. Very strange baseball last night. We're here to talk about all of it. Thank you for joining us. Again, subscribe, join the Discord if you have not. That is where you can ask Robert questions between shows. You can ask me questions. You can talk to Eric Cole from the Prospect Show, get his draft thoughts. We welcome you joining us there. You should subscribe to the Moonshot if you have not. That is our weekly baseball email newsletter where the FanSided MLB team, including Robert Murray, will break down all the biggest stories in the big leagues with humor, insight, behind-the-scenes info. You can also find that writing on the Baseball Insiders feed on fansided.com. That is fansided.com/baseball-insiders. For Robert's rumors and notes, my columns and Eric's prospect writing and the best of baseball and pop culture from the FanSided MLB staff writers. Good stuff going up there throughout the week. If you are a fan of emo music, you're going to want to head to that feed this week. That's a little hint. It's really honestly a big hint because it's kind of what the content is. So sort of gave it away. But you'll enjoy it. Bookmark that page. Now, let's get into it. I want to start with A.J. Minter's injury, which is brutal. Brutal for Braves fans, too, who root for that guy. Even though they got out prior to the injury, it's sort of an unpredictable thing. The Mets have called up UVA's Brandon Waddell in the meantime, but this is one that could be season-ending for Minter if he does have to go under the knife. So it's going to take a more permanent solution. Now, my question to you is, does this change the Mets trade deadline plans and outlook, or do they have enough in their lab to cope? They did just bring in Brooks Raley, so a familiar face is on the mend now on a Mets deal as well, but this is a high upside play that they have lost far too early in the season.
Yeah, this injury really hurts the Mets, and they counted on Minter providing a lot of innings. They thought he was going to provide like really quality innings as well. In his first however many outings with the Mets, like he was really good for them. And he was one of 4 guys who had an ERA under 3. And now he's going to be lost for possibly the entire season. And even with Minter, they had questionable left-handed depth. They had Danny Young. They had some of these other guys. Obviously, Brooks Raley is going to help out for sure. But this provides an immediate question mark here for the Mets. And absolutely, in my mind, this is going to alter their trade deadline plans. And they're going to have to go out and get at least one arm. Usually there's just an abundance of other relievers that are available at the deadline. So I would not think Stearns could have any issue whatsoever going and getting a reliever. But there is no question to me that this injury is a huge blow for them. This was not how they wanted his first season in New York to go at all, because they gave him a pretty big commitment in the offseason. And now he's possibly done after, I believe, like 11 appearances, give or take. I mean, they got other quality guys in the bullpen for sure. You got Edwin Diaz, although struggled a little bit. Ryan Stanek is another one. They got some other guys as well. So there's veteran players there for sure, but there's plenty of question marks there in the bullpen for the Mets.
Yeah, and there is as we talked about in February and March, and I probably thought we were done talking about it. There's a pretty familiar face still available who could fill in the Mets bullpen or in anyone's bullpen well before the trade deadline, although it will take a full spring training. He was a Met in 2023 at the age of 38 and had a 2.05 ERA. Is David Robertson on the table for any of these openings? Coming off one of the best seasons of his career, nearly eclipsed the 100 strikeout mark for the first time since 2011 last year. Still on the free agent market. So thoughts on D-Rob there or D-Rob anywhere?
I agree that he should be an option here for sure. In his last season, he was phenomenal. Like, he is a really quality reliever, and there's no way in any scenario in which he should be available. What are we in late April? We're almost in May, and David Robertson's available. That should not happen. But we saw what happened with Kyle Gibson in his first outing with Baltimore. I know we're going to be getting into that later on in the show, and it underscores just how important ramping up is for pitchers, and it's how important spring training is. And if Gibson is struggling, and he's a veteran guy who's got a long track record, if he's struggling, then you wonder about a guy like David Robertson, and he wouldn't even provide immediate relief there as well. So I'm kind of skeptical of it. I think it makes sense for sure, but that's tough for sure.
Sadly, let's go. I think let's go right into Kyle Gibson because the Orioles thought that. I mean, look, I hesitate to even say they thought they were solving. I hesitate to say they thought they were solving a problem by promoting Gibson, because I think they just were grasping at straws, especially after what Charlie Morton has given them. So surprise last minute shuffle. Gibson is a starter prior to yesterday's Yankee game. The Orioles took the first game in that series. Tomoyuki Sugano said, we're going to get off. We're going to get right, and get off the mat. He had like 8 Ks in 25 innings or something prior to that game. He struck out 8 in the opener of the series. So if you're an Orioles fan, you're like, all right, I'm getting a little optimistic for the first time in a while. I'm throwing a wild card at the Yankees tonight. Gibson has been hit or miss against the Yankees in the past. Sometimes he baffles them in the way that he does, which is 7 2/3, 5 hits, 8 Ks, 92 pitches or whatever. He'll do that from time to time. So you're like, all right, I mean, change of pace, and they weren't expecting this, so who knows? And the Yankees greeted him with back-to-back home runs to start the game, and then four out of the first 5. So Nestor Cortez style ambush. The Yankees are the first team that I can think of that's done that twice in a season, let alone in a month. There was a stat yesterday that laid it out, but trust me, it's rare. So they went on to win that game 15-3, and Morton, who had pitched 3 days prior, came in that game to soak up innings anyway. So you couldn't even get rid of him. Kyle Gibson, not a permanent solution to Baltimore's problems, I would say, and I don't really know how they solve this one unless they deem this season worthy of a really high-profile deadline swing.
Yeah, it just underscores just the amount of issues here that the Orioles have had, not just during the season here, but in the offseason and before that as well. They should. We've said it a lot on this show, and I'll say it again. They've had such a unique opportunity here to maximize a young core and go all in before these guys become big name or before they become highly paid players. And yet they just have not gone out and done that. They've let that rotation continue to be an issue. And the moves they have made, the trade last year with Miami did not work out. It was easily the worst trade of last year's deadline by far. The signing of Kyle Gibson, it's obviously we're one start into this thing. But there's a lot to be determined yet. And he's a veteran guy, so he could bounce back. But allowing 9 runs in 3 2/3 innings, that's not what you want. And there's more to it as well. I like the Charlie Morton addition. You cannot go wrong with Charlie Morton for sure. But they need to invest like big dollars into these guys or into the rotation specifically. Whether it was a Corbin Burns, they tried there, but there was other players available as well that they could have gone out and gotten. They did not. Max Fried made a lot of sense. Obviously, some of the Yankees. It's a huge failure by that organization, and I'm not surprised it's not working out. But to see it like go to waste the way it has, it's maybe the most disappointing thing in baseball in quite some time.
I was surprised that Fried came down to the Yankees and Red Sox for obvious reasons. I thought he would come down to the Red Sox and Orioles. And I figured we'd see him in the AL East. He has dominated the AL East traditionally, but I did not think we would see him in pinstripes.
And I'll add this one too. We should not discount how close the Rangers were to getting Max Fried in the offseason. There was reports that they were in. They were very in, and they should not be forgotten in that sweepstakes because I don't think they were ever close, but they were very serious in that one. Very serious.
Yeah, good call. Forgot to add them. But you look at the ways that Baltimore can solve this issue at the deadline, if they even again are motivated to get into that top tier starting pitching market. Sandy Alcantara, sort of the plug and play solution, and the first name we bring up whenever we're talking about pitching trades. Another dud yesterday in Los Angeles. And we know that the Marlins believe in Alcantara for a reason. And he's someone that they view as someone that they are going to be able to get right. And by the deadline, things will look a little bit different. But 8.31 ERA through 6 starts and only 19 Ks in 26 innings, almost a 1.7 whip. These things tend to normalize when you get further from Tommy John. Alcantara is someone who has demonstrated ace-like capabilities in the past, but he's someone you want a haul for. You do not sell low on Sandy Alcantara. So he's either going to rehabilitate his value or he's not going anywhere. So the market gets thinner if you're a team like the Orioles that need 2 top-tier starting pitchers.
Oh, absolutely. And Alcantara has always been like the top tier option here for all these teams, and his struggles possibly throw a big wrench into this thing. And then you're spot on. Like, he signed long term, he signed at a very affordable rate. Like, the Marlins do not need to sell low on him. They can hold on to him and try to wait for him to get back to his normal self. But his outing yesterday against the Dodgers did not quiet any concerns whatsoever, because we saw Paul Skeens have a tremendous amount of success against the Dodgers pretty recently here. And now you have Alcantara, who's obviously is coming off the injury. But before he was injured, he was regarded as one of the best pitchers in baseball, and rightfully so. Allows 7 runs in 2.2 innings. And it was pretty notable, though, that he allowed a first pitch home run off of a fastball to Shohei Ohtani. And right after that, he went away from his fastball. So maybe he's not totally comfortable with his fastball. Maybe he just wasn't feeling it that night. I don't know, but not ready to sound the alarm bells quite yet. But his start is pretty concerning.
I'm sounding quiet alarm bells. Like, we don't need to sound like the loudest version of the alarm bells, but I'm just like flicking an alarm with my finger and making sure that it makes some semblance of noise, because I'm not feeling good about Sandy Alcantara. Now, I know we're going to get Padres questions, so we'll get ahead of it. What was your favorite part of the Yuli Gurriel era in San Diego? Did you have a favorite moment? And how confident do the Padres feel with the bats that they have in the room? Because they took a lot of flyers this offseason on minor league moves and familiar names, and some have hit. Gavin Sheets, great move. Others have not. Gurriel's major league career might be over at this point. But it does feel like the Padres probably, although they are going through the similar, red hot start to the season, slightly less impressive last 10, 12 games, just like the Dodgers. I do think they're probably still confident with the bats they have in that room, though.
Yeah, they're very confident in the bats they have in that room. They just needed to move on from a guy like Yuli Gurriel, and it clearly was just not working out. And they were going to give him a bunch of chances here to figure it out, and they did. They were patient, but it was just clear they needed to move in a different direction. So they ended up doing so, and they have internal options there for sure. They got Gavin Sheets, as you said, who in short time there in San Diego has already far exceeded his minor league contract that he signed in the offseason. They also have Connor Joe. They have some other options. Obviously, they have a bunch of star players as well. But that could be an area where Preller kind of targets something at the trade deadline if they find a need to go out and get a bat. But right now they're comfortable with where they're at. Obviously performing very well. There have been some offensive struggles for sure. But they are definitely the team, even as currently constructed, that I strongly believe is the biggest threat to the Dodgers in the National League. So we'll see exactly how it plays out. But AJ Preller should never be forgotten about at the trade deadline, because last year, he obviously saw the bullpen being a pretty big need. He got Tanner Scott and Jason Adam, parted with a lot of prospects. If he sees the The offense being an area that needs to be addressed. Who knows what he goes out and does? And Lord knows he's got plenty of prospects to go out and do it. He always does. Even though he trades all these guys, he always has prospects to move.
It's true. It could not be more true. And it's made me think, actually, minor pivot. I'm curious your opinion on this because we have talked in the past about the Yankees tax and, the Yankees having to overpay maybe relative to other teams in terms of prospects because nobody wants the Yankees to succeed. It's just true. Who wants to help the Yankees? No one on earth. Preller has been a master at building up this prospect arsenal and continually selling other teams on the fact that I have more guys. And sometimes it takes proof of concept where, teams want to see the results from the packages that they're given. And maybe over time, you start to get taxed a little more heavily if the players you're sending don't pan out. And we'll see what Drew Thorpe is. And, we'll see what the package that got sent for Adam and for Scott end up being. But the Yankees for a long time have been in a place where they were giving not much and also getting not much, but it saved some of Brian Cashman's worst deals because like Frankie Montas, that was a bomb. But did the Yankees miss JP Sears and Luis Medina and Ken Waldichuk? I don't know, kind of, but is that really, Hayden Wesneski, probably the biggest piece, Josh Smith, like these are the biggest pieces they've given up, but the Gallo trade, not that painful in the end. The Donaldson trade didn't cost you much. Like these bad moves are sort of bad for bad. In Miami, Agustin Ramirez has debuted with 3 homers, 9 for 27, and the exit velo is crazy. Now, the Yankees traded him for Jazz Chisholm, who's also been good. And the Yankees do have Austin Wells at catcher, and the Yankees do have catching depth. But that is a real premium piece that the Yankees gave up. And it makes me wonder if people have been criticizing the Yankees farm and saying they don't have what it takes and look at all this garbage. Can something like giving up Ramirez help the way the Yankees are viewed throughout baseball? Because all of a sudden you've got a very tangible impact of we got something in Jazz Chisholm in return. We gave you something valuable, and other teams, hopefully for the Yankees' sake, will look at that and realize, okay, there might be some depth to be mined here. The Red Sox and Carlos Narvaez too. He has been valuable in Boston. Like the Yankees are giving to get now after a while. Michael King.
Yeah, no, you're spot on about that. And I mean, they have given up some pretty strong pieces here in some recent trades, and King especially. And Augustin Ramirez obviously has had a really strong start in Miami. I don't think this is going to impact any future trade conversations that the Yankees have with other teams, though, where teams are like, oh yeah, finally, like a player is good away from the Yankees, like, or like a prospect turns out that they got from the Yankees or something along those lines. They're going to bet on their player development and their scouts to identify those kind of talents. And I just don't think that would end up impacting anything there. But I will say, if the pieces hit that the Marlins got last deadline, like where you have Augustin Ramirez, you have Connor Norby, you have Adam Mazer, you have some of these other prospects that you got from the Padres as well. That can really build the next foundation of Marlins baseball. Obviously, it's tremendously painful to watch that team last year, this year. It's a tough watch for sure. But if everything goes according to plan, which probably won't, to be fair, I don't think anything really goes according to plan for any franchise in baseball, to be fair. Point in case, look at the Baltimore Orioles. But there's actually a direction there in Miami. And Peter Bendix has his work cut out for him for sure. And I even asked him about it at the GM meetings this year. I'm like, what was last deadline like for you? And he said, bro, it was madness. And I mean, rightfully so, but there's actually like a direction there in Miami. It's taken a little bit, but the early returns, at least for Augustin Ramirez, seem to be pretty positive.
Good conversation there too, and glad to tap into that. And I am, I'm excited about everything in Miami relative to last year a little bit more. Not the new City Connect though. Don't love that. Thoughts announced today. I mean, I'm not sure we keep talking about these. I'm not sure we've had a good one that we love in like weeks, months. Like, I don't know if we've done a review on the show, and apparently I'm wrong on the Bulls White Sox City Connect, because everybody told me those go hard. It's one of the most jarring jerseys I've seen in practice. It looks like such a Walmart knockoff to me. I don't get it at all, but people have been coming pretty hard and fast in their defense of those ripping. So I guess those are good. But I'll put myself on record again to say that the Marlins one is just so lazy to me. Like, it looks like a printer ran out of ink. There's like streaks on it. The Marlins have the best throwback jerseys in baseball. The teal. The Marlins had the best old city. Like, I thought the old White Sox and the old Marlins were two of the best old city connects. And this is just, it looks like a half finished Miami Heat. Like, when you're at Target and they've put a basketball jersey on a baseball jersey fabric for no reason, and you're like, it's like unlicensed, and you're like, I don't even know who makes this product. Like, Ace Industries, is that a real company? That's what this looks like to me. It looks like a Heat jersey interpolated on a baseball jersey, and it really does, as our producer noted, and as I was gonna mention in a video we're doing later, the hats that say 305 do look like they say SOS. So it's like, it's for me, these are another swing and a miss. But based on the reaction of the Bulls, White Sox jerseys, like, I guess we love these. I don't know. These are not for me.
No, so I'll be totally honest with you. I did not look at these jerseys until this very moment, and they're bad. They're very lazy. They give off like kind of like they're lazy, but they're also giving like 80s vibes, like with the different colors. I don't know.
The sizing is weird. Like, remember that weird photo that came out of the proposed Vegas A's stadium where the scoreboard was all warped and bent? It looks like a Photoshop of a jersey just stretching and bending. Like, it does not look real to me yet.
No, it's bad. And like the SOS, actually, that could be accurate. Maybe they are saying SOS on the hats, just because things are just that bad there in Miami right now. But boy, yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do here with these City Connect jerseys, but they're just awful. I think MLB needs to go away from this unless they're going to end up like actually becoming serious about how good they want these to look. Because I've seen hardly any of them that I actually do like.
They're doing some kind of City Connect in the NFL next year too. It's like rivalry jerseys that are going to be worn for like 4 games a year between two rivals. I don't know. Like, I love merch. Nobody loves merch like me. And sometimes a City Connect will get me and I'll buy socks or I'll buy a hat. But this latest round, a lot of these leaked early too. The Bulls one and the Marlins and the Red Sox, which I do like the leak. So I'm excited to see the Red Sox one live. I saw a Diamondbacks leak I really love too. So if that's real, then great. I'll change my tune. But the Marlins and White Sox ones, when they leaked, I was like, please no. Like, that just can't be. And they've come out and looked just as bad as I thought they would.
Wait, did you say you like the Red Sox one?
I do like the Red Sox one. Yeah, the Green
Monster
one.
I want to make sure I get this right. This one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah.
We're going to agree to disagree on that one. I think you're the Red Sox and you're making your jersey green. How does that make sense? Make them the Green Sox. I don't like I guess Green Monster. Okay. Let me maybe it just connected in my head. Okay, yeah. I'm starting to see it now. All right.
It's a Green Monster font. Like, I like that. I wonder if I wonder if we can see like, if when those come out, I wonder if it's going to be like paneled, if there's going to be texture on the fabric or whatever. That I would really like. But baseline, I really like the Red Sox Green Monster jerseys. I do not like the Bulls at all. And yeah, Uncle Ted, I know that it's an homage to the Chicago Bulls. That's what I don't like about it. It's more than an homage too. It's a straight up Bulls jersey. Like, some elements blending in, I'm down. But it's just like, what if we did the Bulls jersey? Oh, what if we co-brand it? What if we put a Bulls logo on the tag? Like, to me, it does not fit on a baseball field. We'll see. And because talk about a jersey to me that looks like Walmart, like printing a basketball team on a baseball jersey fabric is like the definition of like, I don't know, we got to make extra products. Somebody's going to buy these. And that's what it looks like to me. But hey, we did have a lot of fun last night across Major League Baseball. Again, before we sign off, we mentioned the Varsho catch. We mentioned all that insanity in Philadelphia. Was there a moment last night that stood out to you of just like a reminder that baseball is fun? Because it was a weird night. The Yankees going back to back to back, then making exactly 1 out and leaving the yard again. Kike Hernandez on the mound, shutting down the Marlins and posting about it, bragging about it on Instagram. What caught your eye?
I would say the Mets defensive play, because it was back to back to back, and it was highlighted by the Tyrone Taylor catch in center field, where he ended up going, I think it was to left center, and he just dove and caught it. And then there was I think it ended with a Lindor play at shortstop. And I think that was how it went. Maybe I'm wrong. But that sounds right. But I remember watching it and I'm just been like, holy crap. Like it was maybe the greatest defensive inning of the year. And I'm calling it a month into the season. Like usually I'm not like a hot take kind of guy. But I struggle to find an inning of defense that's going to be better than that. So shout out to the Mets. I do love great defense because I think defense wins championships. I grew up a Giants fan, so obviously I watched them do it in 10, 12, and 14. So, I mean, hey, defense is good. And that's one thing Stearns wanted to improve when he went over to the Mets is he wanted the defense and the pitching to be a lot better. And obviously they've done a really nice job considering all the starting pitching injuries there. But also the defense there is much improved. And Tyrone Taylor was a guy that he specifically targeted when he went to the Mets from his old team, Milwaukee, and obviously like reaped the rewards of it yesterday.
Yeah, that was nuts and good shout on that. A lot of wild baseball for a Tuesday. I don't know how we got here, but we did. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. One question before we sign off from Canyon, who we love in the Discord, asking about the Pirates calling up Bubba Chandler, which is a more urgent need by the day in Pittsburgh. So before we sign off, any thoughts on Bubba Chandler maybe getting that big league chance as the Pirates postseason chances, according to Fangraphs, I think dip under 4%.
I would think Chandler is called up within the next couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to be anything that happens in the next couple of days. Could be wrong, but I think we're looking at next couple of weeks. And when he does debut, that is going to be a very highly anticipated debut because he is my pick to win National League Rookie of the Year. He is everything that is great about baseball. It is just really unfortunate that he is coming up with a Pirates organization that seemingly has no hope. So I'm sorry. That wasn't very nice to say to you, Canyon. I do not hate you, by the way. I saw your comment earlier, and I wanted to address that. I could never hate you. You're a very good fan. You're a very good friend. A nice fellow, so we appreciate that. But I'd give it a couple weeks until Bubba's up.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Of course, really appreciate it. We will see everybody back here on Friday at 3:30 Eastern here on the Baseball Insiders on the audio feed. You get your podcast there. We're on any podcast platform. If you're not subscribed, we'd love if you would subscribe. If you have not joined and joined the Discord, we would love to see you in there. The Moonshot, subscribe there. The Baseball Insiders feed on fansided.com, fansided.com/baseball-insiders for all the latest and the most fun content. Robert Murray, Wild Tuesday translated into a fun Wednesday show. We are probably going to get some more good shit to talk about for Friday.
I would imagine so. I think we're going to have a lot of good shit to talk about. I'm excited to do it. I am very excited that I get to do it here with you, Adam Weinrib, because you are a gentleman and a scholar. Our lovely producer, Joanne, we appreciate you. Best in the business. So thank you very much for that. Everyone in the comments, we appreciate you. Even you, Canyon, we do appreciate you because you're a loyal Pirates fan. And yeah, if you're a Pirates fan and you're loyal to them, then you're about as good of a human being as it gets. So thank you for that. Adam, I'll see you on Friday. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. I will be here on Friday. I will see you here, and we hopefully will see all of you here as well. Take care, everybody, and join us on Friday on the Baseball Insiders.
Thank you, everybody.